The following presentation is organized in two specific parts. In part one of this presentation, we will define and discuss web-based social cognition. Additionally, we will seek to explain how culture relates to our perceptions of others and ourselves. And finally, we will discuss whether or not these perceptions vary across cultural lines. In part number two of this presentation, we will compare and contrast some key differences in American and Romanian culture. We'll also discuss some surprising findings in relation to the contrast of these cultures. And finally, I will discuss any changes in my perception and my previous impression about the Romanian culture. So let's look at part number one. What is web-based social cognition? Well, in defining web-based social cognition, Sebates 2012, page 99, explains that this is a social psychological phenomenon that occurs in the cyber world. In other words, this is an interaction that occurs online instead of in face-to-face social interactions. Additionally, Sebates 2012, page 99 states that web-based social cognition occurs when perceptions and first impressions are formed of another person based only on online cues such as social media sites, pictures, and/or correspondence. Sebates 2012, page 99 goes on to explain that both real-world and online perceivers use some of the same strategies when making first impressions. While web-based social cognition occurs in the online world, we need to be careful because misjudgments can easily occur due to the absence of in-person, face-to-face interactions. Now let's look at how culture relates to our perceptions of others and ourselves. In review of how culture relates to our perceptions of others and ourselves, Borrell 2015 explains that we all see the world through cultural glasses. Additionally, Borrell 2015 explains that the lens through which your brain sees the world shapes your reality. And furthermore, if we can change the view of how we see other cultures, we can better understand how we can interact with these cultures and interact with people who live in these cultures very different than our own. In discussing whether or not these perceptions vary across cultural lines, the answer is yes. Perceptions do vary across cultural lines and social interactions. To clarify, while each culture may view their modes and codes of conduct as normal and acceptable, Borrell 2015 explains that because of cultural differences, social norms such as politeness, interest, and social interaction can be misconstrued or misunderstood when people of different cultures interact. Thus, understanding cultures and the differences will help us in how we view others and ourselves as a whole. Additionally, it will help us better understand differences as it relates to interacting with varying cultures. Now that we've discussed part one of this presentation, let's move to part two. And let's compare and contrast some key differences between American culture and the Romanian culture. Let's also take a look at some surprising findings within these cultures. And finally, I will personally discuss how this research has changed my perception and my previous impression about this particular culture of Romania. So let's compare and contrast some key social differences between American and Romanian culture, beginning with how Romanians greet their friends. Greeting one another in Romania is done very differently than in America. Greeting one another in Romania is done through kissing and hugging. According to Anda et al. 2020, paragraph 6, when Romanians kiss a friend, they do it twice, on each cheek, from left to right. And doing it once would seem cold and distant in that culture. In America, we greet actually with hugs and handshakes, and so kissing would seem very awkward. Another key social difference, according to Anda et al. 2020, is found in the way Romanians talk with strangers. Romanians consider it polite to talk and have lengthy conversations and very intimate conversations with strangers. And according to Anda et al. 2020, this is the social norm. Americans generally keep to themselves and they engage in small talk with strangers or they avoid talking at all. In review of these key cultural differences, I was surprised to learn a few things. I was surprised to learn just how friendly the Romanian people are to strangers, how they enjoy lengthy conversations with people they've never met before. And in addition, I was surprised to learn of the physical interaction that occurs when Romanian people greet their friends. Kissing and hugging, while odd to us in America, is a form of deep endearment and politeness among friends in Romania. In reflecting on the question of has this research changed my personal perception and previous impression about this particular culture of Romania, my answer is yes. Prior to this research, I believed Romanian people to be a little more serious and cold based on the European Eastern culture. However, I was wrong. They are anything but that. On the contrary, they are a people of passion. They are a people that enjoy others, that are friendly, and that highly value social interaction and friendships. And now, understanding more of this Romanian culture has helped me to see that these are wonderful people and I see them in a better light. And hopefully, if I'm ever there, I can interact with them and understand their culture more than I've had in the past.